Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over the Kuat NV 2.0 bike rack here on our 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. So the NV 2.0 is going to be an excellent bike rack option for you and the family, as it can be configured to hold either 2 bikes, which is what we have here, or 4 bikes depending on how many bikes we need to carry. We also have 2 different colors to choose from, such as the gunmetal gray that we have here, and it's also available in a metallic black. Really, the best one is going to come down to preference and whichever one you feel matches your vehicle better. So the NV 2.0 is actually what's known as a platform style bike rack. Now, platform style bike racks are the most universal because they're going to be compatible with the greatest number of bikes. If we have any heavy bikes, preferably over 35 pounds, chances are you're going to have to go with a platform rack, because the other style, which is a hanging style, cannot accommodate those heavier bikes. If we have any nice bikes with carbon fiber frames, that's when you're also going to need to look at a platform style bike rack, a wheel mount in particular, so we don't damage the frame. Or if you just have a light road rack, that's perfectly fine. You can still use a platform style bike rack, and it's actually much easier to load your bikes onto. There is one sort of downside of platform bike rack, is that they are kind of heavy, so they're going to be a little bit more work to get on and off the vehicle each time when we compare it to a hanging style rack. So another feature that I like about this bike rack here is that we can actually tilt it away from the vehicle to get into the Hatchier with our bike still on there. Now with the hanging style bike rack, you wouldn't be able to do this at all with the bike still on, and even some platform bike racks you'd have to remove the bike from. However, with the NV 2.0, all we need to do is come down here to this little lever. We're going to pull that, and then our bike with bike rack is going to tilt out away from the vehicle, allowing access to the hatch. Now, one thing I will say that it is kind of close between the handlebars and the hatch, so it's really going to vary depending on what bike you have on whether or not it clears. But as you can see here, if we open the hatch here, just kind of pull out a little bit on our bike, we have plenty of room, a few inches. So granted, again, that's going to vary depending on what specific bike you have, but most of them, you're going to be able to open the hatch without interference. And then when we've got everything we need out of the back here, we can go ahead and easily put down our hatch and just lift our bike rack back up and lock it into place. And then we're ready to head off down the road. So with our bike here, we're going to have 2 points of contact. So when we've arrived at the trail, we're ready to take our bike off. It's super easy. We're going to come to the rear here. We're going to press that little gray button. That's going to release the strap. And then we'll just simply move that out from the spokes of the wheel. Now what we need to do is we need to place one hand on the top tube like so. And we're going to place the other hand on this arm here. Again, just press this button, real easy. Extend it up, fold it down. Now we're ready to lift our bike off. So I will say, it's very important that we grab a hold of the top tube on our bike there before we let go of that wheel hook, because if we don't, our bike's going to fall and hit our vehicle and cause damage. So just make sure every time that you remove the bike, you always have a firm grip on the top tube before you release the wheel hook. Now we got some measurements for you guys here. If you're curious to know how much length the bike rack adds while it's folded down to the overall length of your vehicle, if we just measure from the back bumper here to the outside edge, we're looking at about 31 inches. Now, as we mentioned earlier, that platform style bike racks are kind of hard to take on and off the vehicle because they're heavy. However, the Kuat NV 2.0 here, it's a great bike rack because it actually has a stowed position that we can use when we're just driving around town without our bikes on. That way we don't have to remove the rack completely. In order to do this, we're simply going to, again, press on this little lever here. And then we can see, you can just fold it up flat against the vehicle here. And this is going to drastically cut down on the amount of length we're actually adding to our vehicle. Now, if you park your vehicle outside, that's probably not a very important feature, but if you have a garage, there's obviously a limited space in most cases. Therefore, you may or may not be able to fit your vehicle in the garage with a bike rack. But if you account for this extra measurement here, looks like to the outside edge, we're about 14 inches. You should be able to determine whether your vehicle is going to fit in the garage with the rack still attached. So another great feature about the 2.0 is that we have an integrated bike stand. So granted, this will work with any type of bikes, no matter how we're using them. Probably more geared towards the mountain bikers that are really abusing their bikes. We go off those jumps, you know, we hit those hard cliffs. It could break, you know, certainly breakdowns aren't out of the ordinary. And the problem with those is there's always not really a great place to work on your bike. You're kind of leaning against the vehicle, leaning against the rock, or working on it in the ground. There really just isn't a great setup. Well, Kuat has thought of that here. As you can see, we easily just rotate that arm out, lock it into position. Now we can just drop our bike here into this little top clamp. Should easily fit in there, push it against the frame, tighten it down. And now we have a nice stable surface here to be able to work on our bike, make the needed repairs so we can get back on the trails. So in regards to the weight capacity, we mentioned platform style being able to accommodate heavier bikes, and that's certainly true with this rack here. It's going to be 60 pounds per bike when we have it configured as a 2-bike version. When we're using the 4-bike version, our per bike weight capacity is going to be 40 pounds. Always keep in mind that we need to place our heaviest bikes closer to the vehicle. So if you're considering the Kuat NV 2.0, you probably have some pretty nice bikes, certainly not ones we want to be stolen. Well, Kuat has definitely integrated some nice features here to protect your bikes and the rack safe. So you can see here on the ends, we have these cable locks. These actually pull out, wrap around your bike frame, and then they get secured back in this location here. So that's going to secure our bikes to the rack. We also, if we look down at the hitch pin, you're going to see we have a lock core on there as well, and that's going to secure the rack to the vehicle. Therefore, we have security of both our bikes and our nice rack. So another premium feature of this bike rack here is that we have a tool-free installation. Now, a lot of the other bike racks with built-in anti-rattle, they actually require a tool to tighten that hitch bolt down, which is something we have to keep track of. We could possibly lose. So having something that's integrated into the bike rack is certainly going to be a worthwhile feature. And that's what Kuat has did here with this little knob. So we just simply loosen this. And this is going to pretty much reduce the pressure inside the shank. And then when we tighten it, that's going to increase that pressure there. And this is sort of also the built-in anti-rattle mechanism. Therefore, if we tighten this all the way up, and we give a good shake on the shank here of our bike rack, you can see it's shaking the entire vehicle. So this is actually the built-in anti-rattle mechanism, which is going to keep your bikes nice and safe on the rack there. They're not going to be jumping around as much. It's also going to keep our rack nice and secure to the vehicle. So in summary, the NV 2.0 is really one of the best bike rack options on the market, at least in my mind. Now, Kuat in general, they're a great company to deal with. They definitely stand behind their products. In regards to the aesthetics of the rack here, this is definitely a very nice looking rack. I'm sure you guys can see that there. It's definitely something you're going to be proud to display on the back of your vehicle. And that's going to do it today for our look at the Kuat NV 2.0 bike rack here on our 2021 Ford Bronco Sport.